Hello and welcome to the class. My name is Dr. Philip Foster and I will be your instructor for this session. I am a faculty member, doctoral chair, entrepreneur, and author, and I'd like to kind of introduce all of that to you within this video. First and foremost, let me just give you a little backstory for me. I was born in Key West, Florida, which is the southernmost city in the contiguous United States, all the way at the end of the tip of Florida, 90 miles north of Havana, Cuba, right where the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic Ocean kiss each other. I started my first successful business in the year 2000, and I started a business coaching and consulting firm in the year 2005 upon completion of my master's degree. I'm married and have two boys, and we currently live in Southern Ohio, USA. Just a side note, I love to hike. So if you have any good hiking recommendations, I'd love to hear it. My favorite place of all to hike is in the Smoky Mountains. All right, let's just give you a little background of my education. I have a bachelor's degree, a bachelor's of science in business administration with an emphasis in human resources from the University of Tampa in Tampa, Florida, and I got that in 1993. I later, almost 10 years later, went back for my master's in organizational leadership, which had an emphasis in coaching and mentoring, and I got that from Regent University. And then just a few years later, I went back and started on my doctorate in strategic leadership with an emphasis in strategy and foresight, again, from Regent University. Strategy and foresight is basically the anticipation and prediction of future events or potential future events. And so that's kind of my interest and forte. Some of my work experience, my very first job, I did hotel maintenance. Started at the very bottom, and it was not a fun job, but I had a job, and I was a teenager then. While working on my bachelor's degree, I worked summer and winter breaks at a federal low-income housing development. I wrote federal grants and helped actually design several different programs that I understand they even use to this day. My very first job out of college, I worked for a tier 1 human resource consulting firm doing compensation studies. And that was a load of fun, especially when you tell a doctor that they're not worth what they think they are, but they're worth what the market says they're worth. So that was a fun job. I've since worked for software firms, PR firms, and in media, including film, television, audio, and print. And I've been a business owner of my own since the year 2000. As a professor, I have been teaching at university since 2012, predominantly teach MBA and doctoral students to this date. And my areas of interest and expertise are in leadership, entrepreneurship, organizational change and development, strategy, and foresight. And just as a side note, I am a published author. My very first book was the book Organization 3.0. And this was kind of a conversation starter to my second book, which was actually my doctoral thesis. And that is called The Open Organization, which is a new era in leadership and organizational development. And this was basically a continuation of the conversation of Organization 3.0, where I was looking at how we should be leading organizations in the 21st century. And then most recently, I completed my paper, my book called Cloudforce. And this is really a look at remote work in a post-pandemic world and the 21st century future of work. And I really started this book long before COVID even took place. And in the midst of COVID, I said, well, I better finish this out. And so I finished writing it and published it in 2021. I am a co-author, amongst others, with a text called Leadership 2050. And this is looking at critical challenges, key contexts, and emerging trends over the next several years. And we were basically, my colleague and I were looking at what we thought leadership would look like in the year 2050. And incidentally, we're in chapter 2 of that book. Other places you'll find me are on blogs and podcasts. And I was a contributing author for opensource.com. And if you go to opensource.com/maximum change, opensource.com/users/maximum change, you'll find some of the articles that I wrote there, or you can type in your Google search opensource.com and then space and then put Philip A. Foster and you'll find my articles. So that's just a little bit of an overview of who I am. Again, I want to welcome you to the class. And if you have any questions at all, please look for my contact information in the course shell. And I'm more than happy to meet with you via video conference. That is usually the best way because I can share my screen and go through information that is in context to what we're discussing. But you'll also find a calendar link there for that. And I'm more than happy to meet with you. Typically have office hours throughout the week. Typically they're in the afternoons Eastern time, and they're usually 1 to 5 Eastern, but I'm happy to arrange other times that might work best for you. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me. I look forward to getting to know you and working with you and seeing you to your completion of your project. Have a great day.